Good morning. If you've joined us for the first time today, my name is Andrew, and my wife and I, along with a team of great people, are planting Radiant Church, launching this fall in the Seneca-Clemson area of South Carolina. If you're local, we want you to know that, hey, we are resuming our physical in-person launch team meetings right now. But we're also going to continue communicating online all throughout the summer, each and every Sunday as well. And one of the exciting things about all of this is that if you're watching from a longer distance, okay, another state, another city, but you feel like Radiant Church is your church, you can be involved. That's right, man. We want you to be on the team, and I'd love to connect with you and share with you how you can be a part of Radiant Church, even if you're not local in this area. Just direct message us on Facebook or visit radiantchurchsc.com, and you can contact us there because we want you to know that, hey, you have a part to play too. Now, if you're watching, I do want you to do one thing right now. I want you to share this message on your social pages, okay? You can share from our YouTube channel, Facebook page, or share the link if you're watching on our website. We want to get this message out to as many people as we possibly can. All right. I think one of the most depressing things to hear is to hear someone come up and say, you know what, I just don't see the point of, and you kind of fill in the blank here. People use it for all kinds of things. I don't see the point of being married to him or her anymore. I don't see the point of going to school. Every kid wants to harp on that. I don't see a purpose in church. Why should I keep doing the right thing when it doesn't really seem to go anywhere? It just seems like everything I do doesn't make a difference. I just don't see what the purpose is. But there is a reason. Now, before I get into that reason, let me throw this out there too, because I think it speaks to where a lot of us are at right now. Despite what a lot of people might say, I don't think people actually hate pain. I think people hate pain without a purpose. People hate pain when there isn't a clear and compelling reason behind it. Because the truth is, people can and will endure a lot of pain when there is a purpose behind it. So, give you an example. I don't work out, all right? As you can probably tell. But in the past, I have. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but depending on if you've worked out, I guess it would be kind of if you're aware of this. But it's painful lifting weights. It hurts to do that. But there's a purpose behind it. You're getting bigger, you're getting stronger, you're in shape. People pay big money to work out and go through pain because there's a purpose behind the workout. There's a purpose behind the pain. I've got 2 kids. My wife, Shanna, gave birth to both of them, and I've learned that after the first one was born, women are a lot tougher than men. There is no way I'd go through that. Childbirth causes a lot of pain, but there's a purpose behind the pain, right? Because you're giving birth to a brand new life. People don't hate pain. What they don't like is they hate pain without a purpose. So I wonder, how many of you are experiencing pain right now in this season? And there just doesn't seem to be a purpose behind it. It's not easy. You can't see any good to it. You're frustrated, you're in despair, you're anxious. Where is the purpose behind all of this pain? Luke chapter 22. Jesus is speaking and he says, Simon, Simon, this is Peter's actual name, by the way, for those of you guys who may not be aware of that. He changes Simon's name to Peter before the passage. He says, Simon, Satan has asked to sift each of you like wheat, but I've pleaded in prayer for you, Simon, that your faith would not fail. So when you've repented and turned to me again, strengthen your brothers. Can you imagine Jesus walking up to you? And he's saying, hey, Bob, Roger, whatever your name might be, the devil wants to take you out. And in fact, he's getting ready to wage an all-out attack on your life. He's actually asking permission to do this. And here's the thing. I'm going to give it to him. He's going to hurt you. He's going to test you. He's going to embarrass you. He's going to humiliate you. And as you fail miserably, and you will, this is important, Roger. Remember, I've prayed for you. So that when this is all done, you can lead and encourage other people with this really important truth, that there's purpose in the pain. Now, let's be honest for a moment. You would much rather Jesus, tell you that, and then you say, hey, no way, you're the Son of God. Can you not just wave your hand magically and the devil goes away, Jesus is not the person causing Peter's pain, but for whatever reason, he does allow Satan permission to attack him. And I don't know about you, but we're slowly coming out of this whole pandemic and shutdown. It really feels like an attack, doesn't it? People are frustrated and they're losing their jobs. Business owners are having to make tough decisions they never wanted to make about layoffs or closing down or reopening. And there's people who've gotten sick with the virus, and we've all been in this lockdown for some time. And for those of us who are in states where we're already kind of reopening, it's not like there's a mad rush to be normal. It still feels weird and just kind of awkward walking around. Do I wear a mask or not? People look at you strange if you kind of cough a little bit. You got something in your throat. That was me the other week, and all the eyes were like, "What are you doing?" You've got 6 feet apart stickers everywhere. It's this weird, awkward kind of feeling, even if you're reopened. So maybe you're feeling, underemployed during all this too. Like you had a degree, but you had to work 2 different jobs. Or maybe your degree fit the job you had, but it's underwhelming. Or you got a master's degree in like speech therapy, but you can't get a job in that field, so you feel undervalued. And now you're not just underemployed or undervalued, right? Now you're actually unemployed. And you kind of wonder, hey, God, where are you in all of this? What's the point behind what you're trying to do here? Or maybe you're single, and you wanted to share your life with somebody and start a family and all that great stuff. And the odds of finding someone in your town or workplace, that was kind of hard enough before. But now it's even harder because nobody's going out. Even if things have reopened, people are still cautious, and nobody's interested at all right now in getting close to anybody, right? And so your heart just sort of sinks, and you think, man, why? Like, God, why did you put me in this season? This can be anybody. I mean, you can feel under attack and like you're failing at your business or your marriage or your parenting or your spiritual life, just whatever, you name it. But whenever you feel as if the devil is attacking, I just want you to remember this, because I think it's really going to help encourage you here today. And sometimes, God's preparation comes packaged in pain. And what that means is there's a purpose in your pain. God might be using that pain that you're enduring to do something in you before he actually does something through you. And it may be that you're experiencing pain to prepare you for the purpose that God has for your life. Did you ever think about that? Now, I love Peter here. And the reason why I love Peter, the guy gets picked on all the time because he's always messing up, right? Everybody points out his failures, and there's many. If you read Peter's story, there's a lot. But I love him because he reminds me that God can use anybody. I mean, I'm Peter. You're Peter. And our story is in so many ways his story. And just to give you an idea, especially if you're not familiar with really who Peter is, just listen to some of the failures that he experienced. Matthew chapter 16, Jesus predicts his death and resurrection. And Peter is listening, and he comes out and he says, hey, there's no way. Jesus, no way. I'm never going to let this happen to you. That sounds like a pretty good friend, right? And Jesus looks at him and he says, hey, get behind me, Satan. Whoops, right? Like, how many people could say that Jesus called them Satan? We can't really lift our hand. That's not a compliment, okay? Jesus is explaining his ultimate mission, and Peter, to be fair, doesn't quite understand all this yet. He's trying to stop him, and Jesus kind of calls him out on it. Here's another one, Matthew 26. Jesus is wrestling with what's about to happen. He's going to go through his excruciating death on a cross. He's going to rise again. And he wants Peter and the others to stay awake while he's in this garden and pray for him. And all these guys nod off and go to sleep. So when the soldiers come and they arrest Jesus, everybody runs away except for Peter, who does what he thinks is sort of the right thing to do. He wants to protect Jesus, He takes out this sword, always pictured like Crocodile Dundee. It's like, this is a knife, right? And he swings, misses a guy's head, but he cuts off the ear. Jesus puts the ear back on this dude, and he looks at Peter as if to say, hey, you're getting in the way of my purpose. Stop. And of course, the most famous failure is his denial. He doesn't deny knowing Christ, not once or twice, and I would argue even 3 times. If you look at the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and how they're put together, you could actually make a case that Peter denies Jesus up to 4 times. At the end of each denial, he gets upset. And then at the last one, his eyes, and Hollywood couldn't script it any better, meet Jesus, and he weeps bitterly. He just runs away. The pain is too much he can bear after that moment. He feels like the ultimate failure. So many people feel like they're failing right now in this season, and maybe you're one of them. You just feel like you're not living up to your potential. And you feel like, man, as a husband and as a father, you're not living up to the role that you would provide for your family because your paycheck's not coming in. It's gone right now. Or you feel like you're letting your kids down because while some parents can do all the homeschooling thing and that's their jam, it's just not in your DNA. And you can't be the super mom you feel like you need to be. And if you're a Christian, you're supposed to have like all these fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, that kind of thing. Man, but you got the junk. You got like the junk food of anxiety, fear, and anger, and frustration. You're watching on social media, for example, like all these families are playing games, and they're playing games together, and they're worshiping. It looks just so good and fantastic, and you're just thinking, you know what? The only game I want to play is hide and seek. I'm going to hide, kids. Don't come find me, okay? You win. Where is God in any of that? Like, what is the point? And we just kind of scream, hey, Jesus, give me a purpose. There's a reason. Because sometimes God's preparation comes packaged in pain. And I want to challenge you today. Hey, don't look at your life from the perspective of pain. We've all done this, but it's just too easy to look at everything and say, well, here's what I've lost, and here's what's not fair, and here's what I used to do and where I was going to go, and this is what I was going to do when I got there, and I had this much money put away, and it's all gone. Now everything stinks, like just the worst thing on the planet. That's really easy to do. Anybody can do that. I've done it in this season. I've done it more than once. You've done it, But now is the time to get a different perspective. Look at your pain through a perspective of purpose. And realize that God may be doing something in you before he does something through you. And understand the difficult season you're in right now, it's not pain without a purpose. That God may have allowed this pain to strengthen you in a way only the pain could. Romans 8:28 tells us this, that we know that God works everything together for the good for those who love God and are called according to what? His purpose for them. Everything here means in the blessing of a job promotion or in the pain of a layoff. It's in the growth of your relationship or in the pain of a breakup. It's in your marital success or in your conflicts. It's in your good decisions or your bad decisions. Everything works out. For everybody, well, not exactly. The promise is given to those who love God. If you're a Christ follower, do you love God? Okay, great. Then the promise for you is that everything will work out. And that promise works because you've been given what? You've been called to a purpose. Everything you're experiencing, good or bad as a Christ follower, it's got a purpose. And what you want to do is you want to change your perspective to see God's hand at work in the middle of your pain because there is purpose in the pain. Well, some of you might be wondering, how can I so easily say that, right? Because I don't know your situation. And you're right, I don't know what you're going through. And your world's probably full of difficulty and you're feeling a little desperate and you're really hurting. But maybe the very thing you dread is what God is using to develop you in a way where he can use you. I've heard it said before that you can't have a testimony without pain. It's possible that the stronger the pain, the bigger the purpose God has for you. Now this won't make you feel any better, all right? What I'm about to get to will not make you get super excited, but I want you to listen to this really powerful truth from James, okay? I don't like reading it all the time either, but it's really true. Listen to this, James chapter 1, verses 1 and 4. When troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. I told you. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you'll be perfect and complete, needing, watch this, nothing. So strange to read that we're supposed to count it as joy when we encounter pain, right? Like you're supposed to somehow be happy. Hey, thank you, pain. Can I have another, right? But as we read, James, he says that, hey, there is a purpose in your pain, and it's to build endurance. I used to be a long distance runner. I ran cross country in high school, and some of you are like, why, Because I loved it. Our competitive races, they were 5Ks, 3.1 miles. But we never ran 5Ks in practice. Practice was running 5 to 8 miles 5 days a week, and you got Saturday and Sunday off to rest. And we'd start in August, and we would run long distances like that, and we would not switch to shorter distances until about a week before our season ended in early November. All the other schools would focus on short distance runs and practice, trying to get a solid 5K time. They do speed drills and all that kind of stuff. But our coach knew that the key to winning a region and state championship was building up endurance, so that when you ran the 5K races that mattered most at the season's end, you'd be in better shape than everybody else, and you would come out on top. I just ran 8 miles in practice all year long. 3 miles, nothing, I can do it. So you need endurance in this life. You can't get to a place where you have everything you need, as James says, if you don't have endurance. You got to build that endurance up, and any season of pain will produce that. Endurance helps you grow to be the strong, mature leader, dude, that God has called you to be. So let's jump back to Luke for a moment. So Jesus says, hey, Satan is going to sift you like wheat, Peter, but I've prayed for you so you can strengthen your brothers. You know what Jesus is really saying here? He's saying, hey, Peter, the enemy is going to attack you. He's going to cause a lot of pain. And I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm going to give him permission to do it. But Peter, here's why I'm going to do this. So I can use what was meant to bring you pain to strengthen you. And then, Peter, I want you to strengthen people around you. You're going to run back, and you're going to strengthen all those folks because of what you've gone through. And you're going to be different, and you're going to be stronger, and you're going to be prepared for a greater purpose that I've got for you. There was a purpose in the pain, and there was preparation in the pain. See, after Jesus rises from the dead and the Holy Spirit comes in Acts chapter 2, who's the first person to preach about Jesus? It's Peter. And he preaches what? Forgiveness. Because he knew what it was like to experience deep pain and be forgiven. Pain is often your greatest teacher. You learn things about yourself you didn't know before the pain hit. You grow and you stretch and you emerge when the pain is over as a different, stronger person. You can speak to things you couldn't speak to before you experienced that pain. And that's Peter. He's preaching about forgiveness. Why? Because he understands it on a whole new level because of the pain that he's gone through. And 3,000 people come to know Christ that day because of his preaching, man. He became the go-to leader in the early church. Everybody looked up to him and followed him. I'm telling you, God was developing Peter. There was a purpose in the pain that he experienced. And I know for some of you that you're watching right now, the pain is great. And you're wondering, where is God right now, right? What's the purpose behind the pain? You just can't see it. And as hard as it is, you can't take a snapshot of one moment in time and wonder what God is doing. I'm telling you, listen, God works in the details, yes, but those details, they paint a much bigger picture than the one you can see in just a single time frame. What's going to happen is you'll look back 5 years from now and you'll see what God was doing in this moment, because then the picture is bigger and it becomes more clear. And you can say, hey, I get it now. It makes sense. I understand why God did this. I understand why it happened, because there's purpose in the pain. Look at life from a perspective of God's purpose. Now, I already know what that's going to be for you. Some of you lost jobs, you've lost hope. You feel like you're at a dead end, and you're angry, and you're frustrated, and you're worn down, or you're just afraid. Remember, the greater the pain, the greater the purpose. Maybe for some of you, that this is a great time to connect with your family, or to get really deep and work on some things in your marriage. Or maybe, others have felt like you failed, and your failure is helping you launch something brand new. Maybe you feel like you lost your job, but your failure is helping you launch a brand new business in this season that God's bringing to your mind right now. Some of you've been wandering a little too far from God, or never really gave God much of a thought altogether before this happened. Your world's been rocked, and all of a sudden now, through the pain and season you're in, God is bringing you up from the depths of the muck, man, and he's bringing life into your soul. Just know that God is working to bring things together for your good, so long as your heart belongs to him. And when he does work everything out, and he does strengthen people around you, guess what? Tell your story. Tell how in your pain God developed you. Tell how there's a purpose in the pain that God used you. Tell how your situation now is made possible only because of the goodness and love of God. And if he did it for you, man, he can do it for them. Because with God, there's always a purpose in the pain. Let me pray for you here this morning. Father, I love you. Thank you for all the folks who are watching here today. God, I pray that you would remind every individual that there is a purpose in the pain. I don't know what everyone's going through right now. Some are hurting more than others. And I just pray, Lord, for every heart and every soul that's feeling hurt, that's feeling damaged, that doesn't understand what's happening right now. Would you remind them that you're at work? Would you remind them, God, that there's purpose in the pain, that you're developing, God, that you are shaping, that you are molding, that, Lord, the greater the pain, the greater the purpose. That, God, pain can teach us, pain can shape us, and can give us a powerful story to share with others of your goodness and your grace and your faithfulness that can make a difference in the lives around us. May we be like Peter, who when we come on the other side of this, we are strengthened and we are stronger, and we can in turn impact and help other people. And Lord, I pray for those who may not know who you are. We know that promise that everything works out for good, that's not for everybody. That's for those who've decided to follow you. We know, Lord, there are those individuals who might be watching right now who say, hey, God, I want in on this. In fact, if that's you, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to invite you to accept the invitation that Christ gives. Jesus gives an invitation to be part of God's kingdom. All you have to do is accept that invite to say, hey, Jesus, my life is yours. I'm committing myself to follow you. From this day forward, I want to serve you and you alone. If you can just do that from your heart, just like that. Hey, Jesus, my life is yours. I'm going to follow you. I'm giving everything I have over to you here today. If you can do that, then you've just taken the first steps into a life where Christ is at the center. And I pray, Lord, for those who have prayed that prayer, that God, you will strengthen them. And in this new life, you'll remind them you're working everything out for their good. And on the other side of this painful story that's being written will come incredible testimonies of your faithfulness, your goodness, your love, and your might. Thank you, Jesus, that you always love and care for us, that you always have a purpose for us, and that, God, you're going to see us through this season that we're in right now. I give you praise, honor, and glory. Amen. Hey, listen, if you prayed that prayer and you chose to follow Christ this morning, I want you to know that we're excited for you. Now, your journey did not end. It is just beginning. You need to have some next steps. Contact us. Let us know you said yes to Jesus. We want to celebrate with you and then help you with what those next steps are. One prayer is not the end-all, be-all. There's a whole life ahead of you that God wants to give you. Radiant Church, hey, we're launching this fall, and we'd like for you to learn more about us by going to our website. Hey, you can join our launch team or support us as well on that website, radiantchurchsc.com. If you're local, we're holding our physical in-person launch team meetings right now. So contact us to find out when the next meeting is so you can participate, and we will get that information out to you as soon as we can. If you're not local, maybe you're watching from another state or another city, and you feel like, hey, Radiant Church, these are my people. This is what I'm all for this. I want to join this team. How do I do it? Hey, contact us and let us know. I'd love to connect with you and walk through what it looks like to be a part of Radiant, even if you're not in the Seneca-Clemson area of South Carolina. There is a place for you too. Coming up on our Facebook page at 11 a.m., we have our Radiant Kids preschool lesson, and then the Radiant Kids elementary lesson starts after that at 11:30 a.m. only on the Facebook page. You're watching on YouTube or the website, you'll need to go there. If this message really impacted you and if God did a work in your life today, hey, don't keep it to yourself. Let people know. Share this teaching to your socials, tag your friends, pray with us, and God will impact them too. Hey, it's been great coming into your homes this morning, into your car, wherever you're watching from. I'm so glad we get to do this every week with you, and we will see you again next Sunday. Have an amazing rest of your week.